Carmel Cipollone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. You always get a very good equity balance in the calls that you give out, and I think that's very admirable, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just in discussing the titles, I have a number of ideas with regards to the title of this bill, what it should be called, what it would be appropriate to be called, and one that I would like to start with is rather than the Local Government Act 2002 Amendment Bill, I think we should call this the Local Government We Couldn't Win Auckland in the Local Body Election, so we'll privatise Auckland's assets in this way bill. Mr. Chair, and that bill really comes from something that has been discussed quite widely in this debate. It's been about the government's agenda with regards to privatising assets, privatising Auckland's assets. It's been about the ideological views of that side of the House with regards to them wanting to see our local governments act in a corporate way rather than in a community-focused way. And it really is appropriate, given that this bill does allow the private sector to own water infrastructure for up to 35 years, which is effectively, as my Labour colleagues have pointed out, and also Sue Kedgley has pointed out, which is effectively privatisation. So that title is appropriate. While we support, as we've said before, what this bill states it intends to do, which is to increase financial accountability and transparency, we do know that in all actuality that is not the case with this bill. It is about privatisation, and it is about removing the rights of the community to have a say in what's happening so that corporates can shift in, move in, and the communities can't object to what's going on around them. So that's one idea with regards to what the title of this bill could be, and I'll repeat that one again. Local Government We Couldn't Win Auckland in the Local Body Election, so we'll privatise Auckland assets in this way, Bill. It's a long title, and that's the one thing I'm concerned about with that title, is that it is a little bit long, but other than that it does capture the agenda of the national government and what they are intending to do with this legislation. Another idea that I have with regards to an appropriate title for this bill was that, along the same lines, a little bit shorter, rather than call it the Local Government Act 2002 Amendment Bill 2010, we could call it The Government Wants to Sell Off Your Water and Now We Can Bill. That would also be appropriate. I won't go into too much detail about why, because I think that was covered with the previous explanation for my previous recommendation of what a good title would be for this bill. Now, on a different note, going back to the concerns that have been raised around the government's desire to erase communities' ability to have a say in what's going on in local government and with their holding their representatives to account, I think another appropriate title would be Local Government Don't Have to Ask You What You Want or Think Bill. That would be appropriate, given that what this bill does is it removes the need for our local government to actually consult with community on the long-term strategic goals, the long-term outcomes that are put into place strategically for those particular cities that are going to be covered. And yeah, it is concerning because one would think that with local government, with any government, I mean with central government as well actually, that the constituents, the ratepayers, the taxpayers should be able to have a voice in decision making. They should be able to go to their representatives and say that actually we believe that the focus, the outcomes that our elected representatives should be focusing on are this and that, and then pushed for their local representatives to do that. But unfortunately this bill removes the right for that to occur. So again, that recommendation for an appropriate title for this bill would be Local Government Don't Have to Ask You What You Want or Think Bill. And I'm pretty sure that would give New Zealanders a good indication of what the national government is trying to do, if they don't already know what the national government has been trying to do for the past 2 years that they've been in government, the entire history that they've existed. Mr. Chair, another recommendation I have to make is that along the same lines, rather than call it the Local Government Act 2000